Hello, and welcome to PowerED, a ChattState podcast. I'm your host, Andy Burns, and I'm thrilled to have you to join us today on this enlightened journey. Here at Chattanooga State Community College, we're not just about lectures and textbook. We're about people, our inspiring employees who are dedicated to empowering our students and our community. We'll explore our community members' unique paths, discover what drives their passion for education, and uncover the incredible impact they're making both inside and outside the classroom. So whether you're a current student, a fellow colleague, alumni, or just curious about what makes ChattState so special, come to the right place. Get ready to be inspired, to learn, and to truly feel empowered. So welcome. Today, this is an exciting, momentous occasion. And it's mainly because we are getting to launch this podcast, and it's a series. It's a wonderful series. And just in case you're wondering, why are we doing this? Well, in the Center for Teaching and Learning, we are champions and fans of the faculty and staff that are here on campus. And we're always giving them kudos for everything that they do. And when they come by the CTL Center, we just want to encourage them. And one thing we thought about, most don't know others in the capacity that they probably would like. And what I mean by that is the things that they've done in their past, what got them to ChattState, and what could other divisions or other faculty members learn about a new faculty member of things they would need to they would like to get to know, and to see if there's some things that we can share. And this session is by far one of the most exciting because it starts us out with our illustrious president, Dr. Rebecca Ashford.
Well, good morning. It's great to be with you.
Thank you for joining us. So one of the things that we want to start out with is, how did you get here? Like, what was your path from coming from Brevard County to Chattanooga, Tennessee? Like, what was that like?
Well, Andy, again, it's great to be with you, and I really appreciate this opportunity to share a bit about my story and answer whatever questions you may have. So, Andy, as you mentioned, I'm from Brevard County, Florida, and we have that in common.
Absolutely.
That, when I started here 8 years ago,
Yeah.
which is hard to believe that I've been here for 8 years now, and you and I first met, you said, I'm from Rockledge. I said, no way, I'm from Merritt Island. I'm from across the river from you. So we grew up in the same county, probably around the same time.
Yeah.
And I went to, before I went on to the university, I went to Brevard Community College and got my associate's degree there. I always knew that going to a community college was going to be my first step. Don't know why. Yeah. I just knew that was my first step. And I'm fortunate that my family, for some reason, they seemed to get it. They seemed to get that it was the first 2 years, and they just thought that was really important to do. And I was happy with that. I enjoyed being at home with my parents. And I think I was born 40 years old. So anyhow, I went to Brevard Community College and got my associate's degree. And after that, I went on to the University of Central Florida, just in Orlando, and got my bachelor's in English education, and had every expectation that I would teach English in Brevard County. In fact, I taught briefly at Rockledge High School.
No way.
Yeah, very briefly.
That is crazy.
I taught there, and but I had, when I was at the University of Central Florida, I was an education major, and I worked in the College of Education in the advising office. I was a peer advisor. And so I saw dozens, if not hundreds, sometimes, of students a day when they would come in to get paperwork, to go meet with their faculty advisor, or I'd run degree audits, or I'd work with new students at orientation and do these large orientation sessions. I remember at one point, all the peer advisors from across the college for freshman orientation, we would do this skit where we would sort of act out the Gen Ed requirements. I know. Gen Ed comes to life, and I was Rebecca Redpin. So you can guess what area of Gen Ed that I was. I was the English requirements.
Okay.
Anyhow, when I was teaching, it was like, I like this, but what I really enjoyed doing was working in the college environment, working with students and advising and helping them kind of problem solve and make plans. And so I was very fortunate that a position opened up at Brevard Community College. In fact, a woman who had advised me when I was a student there was retiring.
Okay.
And I applied for the job, and thankfully I got that job, and that's what started me in higher ed. Well, that was, I guess, my second higher ed job. And I was so happy in that job. It was insanely busy. We saw the advisors at Brevard. We did everything from advising to recruiting to dual enrollment to student life. I was the SGA advisor. I was the PTK advisor. I did all the student activities. I remember at one point we did this week-long Fall Fest thing with a kind of a retro theme, and I was the disco duck, only we didn't have a duck costume. We had a chicken costume, so I wore this chicken costume. I was the disco chicken for a week.
Yeah, did you do the dance to go with it?
Oh, yeah. You can do all kinds of craziness when you have a chicken head on. Anyhow, during that time, I continued on and got my master's degree in college student personnel. And I remember at my master's degree graduation ceremony watching the doctoral students get hooded and everything. And I thought, there's one more.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be happy with myself until I get it. So then I pursued my doctoral program. In the meantime, the doors just kept opening at Brevard. I was moving up into different roles, became a dean on a couple of different campuses.
Okay.
Had a college-wide dean position at one point. But when I finished my doctoral program, I knew probably the next step was more of a VP role. But, sometimes you have to move out to move up. And I tell people that all the time, and nobody wants to hear that, but it's true. Yeah. I knew that, you look at the landscape and go, okay, the person who's the VP over the area that would make sense for me, she's not going anywhere. Yeah. And so I moved on and went to another BCC, which was great for me in case I screwed up. I just say BCC, and I'm not going to say the wrong college.
Exactly.
Went to Broome Community College in upstate New York and Binghamton, New York.
That's a jump.
It's a huge jump. I went from year-long summer to year-long winter.
Oh, wow.
It was so cold.
What was the transition? Was it a hard transition?
In a way it was, and in a way it wasn't. I guess you learn so much about yourself when you move. You realize you can do things. Yeah. You can do hard stuff. And, it was hard because I had a 1-year-old daughter at that point. And all my family was in Florida, and I just up and left. And with my husband, of course, and my daughter and the dog. Yeah. And I was there for about 2.5 years. And then in 2008, went to Pellissippi State as VP for Student Affairs. And I just kind of applied for that going, I'd like to get closer to home. It's a very different environment in the Northeast, not just climate-wise, but the way colleges work, very different. Anyhow, I applied for that, and the doors just kept opening. And that's kind of a common theme that I say, if the doors keep opening, just
keep walking.
And that's a prayer that I pray to this day: open the doors you want me to walk through, and close those that need to close.
That's pretty fun.
And I really, if I apply for things and don't get them, I'm like, well, that wasn't for me to do. It wasn't the right plan. And then after I'd been at Pellissippi, I was there 9 years. One day, someone reached out to me and said, "You've been nominated to apply for this job at Chattanooga State." And I was like, "Oh, that's funny." That was kind of my, And I thought, well, okay. So I had a phone call with the headhunter and just learned more. And I said, okay, well, I'll apply. I'm not going to get an interview. I'll update my resume, which is good. It's good to keep an updated resume. You never know when you need it for anything. Yeah. And all the doors just kept opening, and I've been here for 8 years now.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So here's what I love about your story. The first part of it is that you've seen student aspect from coming in the door and what they needed.
Yes.
So that's the big piece about advising. I have a lot of advising friends here,
Yeah.
and I walk over every now and then just to stick my head in, and it's really just to kind of marvel at the things that they do.
Yeah.
The number of students I walked over today.
And the knowledge they've got to have about so many different
many different things. It's like they're the college ambassadors, if you will.
Yeah.
And just to know that you had that extensively.
Yeah.
And to see now you're a college president, and just to have the attitude that you have, it's a beautiful thing.
Well, thank you.
I think what you said, the other thing that you said is very important, is that when we are at a certain place and we get a hold to it and we see the things that we're doing, we get tunnel vision.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't look to see that there are other possibilities, so we try to create things sometimes that's not there.
That's right.
The beautiful thing that I've watched you do is that you try to handle every situation as positive as possible. And
I do try to be positive.
Yeah, but it's infectious.
Well, I appreciate that. I see no reason to not be kind or friendly, you know, and I will tell you, you know, I have my moments where I don't feel very kind and friendly.
Yeah.
And I try to avoid people.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I just need to close my door for a few minutes because
exactly.
I might say something that I might regret. But I appreciate that. I appreciate you noticing that.
And it's mainly because of the job that you have and what you got to do, like in the scope of it. And I hate to keep referring it back to advising, but just like advising, you have to know so many different aspects of the college. And you have to act on the information that you get. So not only relying on people to give you information, but being able to present that information in the best light for the college.
Oh, absolutely. You know, when I was at Brevard on a really busy day, usually right before school started, I would see 40 people a day.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But I'd have to remember the next person, it's the first time they're talking to me.
Yeah.
And so I would try to, regroup.
Yeah.
And show a fresh face and, try to give them as much energy as I've given the people before them.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know you get these questions all the time, and I'm just going to ask, what are your hobbies?
This is so hard because I think I'm like, I don't know that I have hobbies. So, let me just walk through a typical day of the life. So I get up at 3 every day. And this morning I hit the snooze way too many times. So it was more like 3:30 and I felt terrible. And then once the animals are fed and all that, I usually work out for an hour and a half.
Okay.
Between walking, cardio dancing, weightlifting. I try to focus a little bit more on weightlifting now. The older I get, and I want to maintain muscle mass.
I understand.
Then it's work, and usually when I get home, I'm pretty exhausted. Plus, I'm trying to get to bed pretty early. But if I do have time, this time of year, I love to be outside in my yard, whether that's pulling weeds or picking tomatoes that I've grown, or right now it feels like it's mostly pulling weeds.
Yeah.
But I love to garden. And then, of course, I look forward to the fall because it's like I buy all my bulbs and get the bulbs in the ground. And usually in the fall, I get really busy, and it's like, God, why am I doing this? And then in the spring, I go, oh, that's why I did that. That's why I did that. Yeah, because I wanted to see all these flowers. Anyhow, I like to read a lot. My problem is I feel like I have ADD with reading, and I usually have 3 or 4 books going at once.
That was just me.
And I love books with short chapters because then or at least section breaks, frequent section breaks, so I can read for 5 minutes if I have 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So exercise, gardening, reading, spending time with my family. When I have to give the caveat that I have a 20-year-old daughter who just graduated from ChattState from our nursing program.
Congratulations!
Thank you. I'm very proud of her. And she still lives at home and probably will till she gets her bachelor's. But, she's like, I'm too busy for you, Mom. But my younger daughter, who's 18, she just is starting her 3rd week in basic training for the Marine Corps. So she's at Parris Island. Yeah. So I've not spoken to her in a few weeks.
That's pretty tough, huh?
It is pretty tough. And anyhow, so that's kind of what I do.
So the gardening brings you a little peace, or
Yeah, that brings me a lot of peace. You know, I've never, or at least in decades, I haven't had my nails done.
Yeah.
Like they're always broken. I usually have dirt under my fingernails from gardening and pulling weeds. But that does bring me a lot of peace.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's a good way to lose yourself. And also, I honestly feel the same way about exercise and being physically active.
Okay.
If I didn't do that, I think I would be stressed out, probably.
Yeah.
You know, that's a great stress relief to me.
So I think that's amazing, because if you look at what you do now, you're very dedicated in your regiment.
Yes, I'm very disciplined. My superpower is discipline.
Was it always that way?
Yes,
Really?
I have always been a very disciplined person.
Okay.
I mean, my mom always talks about when I was little how I would always lay out my clothes for school for the next day. I'd always get up and make my bed in the morning.
Yeah.
I would always be the first one in bed at night, and you know, she'd never have to remind me to do anything. So I've just always been a disciplined person. In fact, I'm envious of my daughter in basic training. I saw a sample schedule and I'm like, this looks awesome. This looks like exactly how I'd want to spend my day.
Oh man, that's amazing.
I sometimes think I miss my calling.
Really? Yeah. So is your daughter more like you in that?
My younger daughter is.
Yeah. Okay.
My older daughter is not.
No, okay.
Although she's very. My older daughter, who just graduated from us, is an excellent student.
Yeah.
She loves to learn, which makes me so proud of her. She reads constantly, and again, just is so curious and loves to learn, and that makes me really proud, because I love to learn too. And obviously, I think learning is important.
It is. I mean, we're lifelong learners, and
absolutely.
By her being in the nursing program, she picked the perfect major to learn and to read.
Absolutely.
So I was going to ask, what is something that someone knows about? It was something that people don't know about you.
Yeah, I'm just kind of a weirdo like that.
You know, it's cool. I like to think Florida has a personality of its own.
Florida's very different.
It's very different. And so when I left Florida, I think that was one of the hardest things.
Yeah.
Still being in that Florida mindset.
Oh, yeah. You know, I always jokingly tell people, you know, things are so different. And I remember going from Florida to upstate New York, and the word that I would use to describe upstate New York was severe.
Okay.
And not just in weather, but in the way people dressed and the way people acted. And you know, I always joke and say, you know, in Florida, your black shorts are your dressy shorts.
That's it.
And your flip-flops with a rhinestone on them are your dressy flip-flops. So, you know, going from those cultures it was so different.
Yeah. I ran into that same thing. Like sometimes I would come in my style of dress and I'm like, okay, maybe I need to.
Wrong thing.
Yeah. Didn't understand about layering. There are summer clothes and winter clothes.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. And in New York, I even had summer jackets.
Really?
I'm like, I need a summer jacket?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
I remember one year my parents came to see me, and they came in January. And my dad, he passed away a couple years ago, but he'd lived in Florida for decades.
Oh, wow.
And he brought with him, you know, like a members only
I remember that
jacket, which is like a windbreaker, really.
Yeah.
And that's what he brought, and he just had on his long sleeve shirt with a t-shirt under it. And I know what he's thinking. Well, I've got long sleeves on, and I've got a t-shirt under it. This is winter.
Yeah.
And jeans on and
Absolutely.
socks.
Yeah.
So you know this is winter. And I'm like, Dad, you're going to freeze.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, you want to borrow a hat and a coat? And he's like, no. We went to dinner, and his teeth were chattering the whole time. Anyway.
So for those who don't know, that is a Miami Vice winter collection.
Yes, truly.
That we just described. So before we leave, what would you like the faculty, what would you like the ChattState family to know?
Well, to everybody, faculty and staff, just how grateful I am to them. And how proud I am. I just marvel at the work that our faculty have done to redesign their classes, to learn new skills, to integrate AI, to integrate affordable learning resources. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. And the enormous transition to 7-week courses, which I know was not without controversy. But
Absolutely.
we did it. And students are thriving. And yeah, there's still bugs to work out. There's bugs to work out with everything.
Yeah.
You know, there's always room for improvement. But I'm just so impressed at the innovation that our faculty demonstrate and our staff. You know, I see some of the things our staff are doing to support our students, and it's incredibly impressive. And then I hear from colleagues across the state, gosh, let's see what ChattState's doing, because they're doing it all. And that just makes me so proud. And it's not me doing it, it's the faculty and staff doing it. And I'm just grateful and proud.
Thank you so much. And I'm so glad to hear you say that, because we go to these different conferences and I go to look for information and I ask a question and they're like, oh, you're from ChattState? You're doing this. How are you doing this? I'm like, well, I know the people who do it. I can put you in contact with them, but we need some things that we can kind of grow and change some things. And I come to find out that we really are the community college leaders. And so it was important for me to come back and get in contact with faculty and staff, and especially staff. Staff has a way of communicating through the non-traditional lines.
Yeah.
You know, you can ask, say, for example, I can ask Tab something. She said, okay, give me 5 minutes. I'll contact somebody else. Next thing you know, she's contacting Jan and TCAT, and Jan has already figured this thing out, and we bring it back. I'm like, whoa,
that's awesome.
Amazing. So thank you for joining us, and we really appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. Thank you so much, and let's make it a great year.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
And that wraps up another episode. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast on your favorite platform. And don't forget to share with your friends, family, or anyone else who just wants to be empowered by this incredible work happening here at ChattState. Thank you for joining us, and remember to stay empowered. PowerED, unleashing the power of education, one ChattState story at a time.